To this now, there are reports that there's been a slight decrease in assault, in robbery and violence in the country. But the harsh reality is that someone is attacked by criminals every 50 seconds. Pause for a moment and consider that every single second, 50 seconds, somebody is being attacked. For greater insight on this, we're joined this morning by anti-crime activist and Crime Watch host Yusuf Abramjee. Yusuf, a very good morning to you. You know, you listen to these reports that assault has come down, violence has come down. But the truth is we are inundated on a daily, especially with the popularity of social media, of crime in our country. And not just any sort of crime, but violent crime. Talk to us about this and what these numbers actually mean if we, on the ground, are actually not experiencing a difference at all.
Tommy, we know that criminals are daring, they are brazen, they're trying their luck every second of every day. The crime statistics give you a good reflection of what is happening on the ground, but let's not forget, the crime figures go up and they go down, they stabilize, and that's not very usual, because what happens is the usual trends that we've seen in South Africa over the past few years is that the crime figures are going up and up. If you look at contact crime specifically, we are talking here of robberies, of business robberies, of armed robberies, of house invasions, of hijackings, of assaults, of smash and grab, and the list goes on. Those figures are still very, very worrying. Although they've come slightly down, the run-up to the festive season, usually we find that crimes are going up. I mean, if you look at the situation on the ground, more and more people are reporting crime. And, aside from contact crimes, look at the burglary at the South African Rugby Union offices, and we tweeted video footage of it yesterday afternoon, where burglars went into the building and made off with laptops, with computers, with alcohol, with bob jerseys. It just shows you that these criminals are desperate. So the situation on the ground is completely different from what the figures reflect and what the official figures reflect. And let's also not forget, many people, Tommy, do not report crime because they've lost faith in the police system. They say it's a waste of time, and they simply continue with life. And that is a worrying element as well.
It really is, Yusuf. Just not long ago, there was a lady who ran over a man who was stealing her handbag, ran over him. South Africa lauded her as a hero because literally people, I think, have just had too much. But she could have actually ended up in big trouble with the law for running over this gentleman, especially if he would have died in that particular situation. When it comes to protecting yourself as an individual and retaliating, trying to retrieve your goods, what are the ambits with the law as far as what you can and cannot do? Because usually it's a fight or flight situation. I believe in the lady's instance, it was fight.
Indeed, we are all fed up with crime. We are all sick and tired of crime. But one has to act within the framework of the law. I always say, Tommy, remember your life comes first. You can replace your car, you can replace your cell phone, you can replace your watch or your ring. Remember your life comes first. And one must be very careful. We've had incidents where people have decided to fight back, and eventually they are charged for attempted murder, they are charged for murder. Now, the incident you are referring to is the incident in KwaZulu-Natal, where a woman in a Toyota Tez was driving. She comes to a boom gate, and she was then attacked by two men trying to allegedly hijack her or make off with her possessions or a car. She then follows the one suspect and rams him over, and for him, he didn't die. And the NPA decided not to prosecute the driver. Now, every case is taken differently. Every case is on merit. We had an incident in Annandale that we focused on in Crime Watch as well on Sunday, where a person drove into the hijacking of his father and he shot two of the hijackers dead. There again, that is the subject of an investigation. So people often, you're right, you get afraid, fright, flight, and flee. So you must make the decision what you want to do on the spur of the moment. But the golden rule is always remember, your life is more important. We even had a video footage of an incident in Cape Town, where somebody drives at the intersection. The hijacker looks like a firearm in his right hand, drives up to the motorist, and he smashes it over and he drives away. And again, if you have a situation where you can get away, try to get away. But the reality is, Tommy, my advice, as I often say, instead of just fighting back for the sake of fighting back, as much as we are all fed up, just be very careful not to put your life at risk. Let them rather take your car, let them take your cell phone. You can fight another day. And remember, again, you don't want to get yourself on the wrong side of the law. If, for example, the hijacker decides that he's going to fight back and he takes your life, and if you can protect your life, that's also very important.
Yusuf, this phrase, you do not want to get yourself on the wrong side of the law when you are a victim, is a very difficult phrase to swallow and to digest. Does the law need to be changed? Because from a victim's point of view, it looks like the law actually supports the criminals.
Actually not, Tommy. If one looks at the Criminal Procedure Act and even the controversial comments by the police leadership sometimes to say shoot to kill, one has to act within the framework of the law. If you possess a firearm or if you have a weapon, the law is very clear. You can only fight back if your life is at risk and you're trying to protect your life. If not, you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of the law. And we've had incidents, there's a very common case in Annandale, south of Johannesburg, where a father was sitting in a car a few years ago waiting for his son to return from school. It was in the evening from an outing. And while he was asleep, the son came to the window, he had a shock, and he immediately took his firearm and he opened fire and he killed his son. He served an effective 8 years in jail. He was sentenced to 10 years or so. So one must be very, very careful. And I don't think the laws are inadequate. The laws are adequate. And the main thing is one must just act within the framework of the law. And when it comes to firearms specifically, the law is very, very clear. The other day, a woman was called a hero, a Pretoria attorney. She was driving in Orchards, north of Pretoria. She drove into a hijacking. The hijackers were planning to take this particular victim hostage, a new trend in hijackings. And they opened fire on her. She had no firearm. And she kept on driving towards them. They then fled and they freed the victim. There again, she put her life at risk. She did the right thing by trying to help a fellow human being. But again, to put your life at risk, she could have been dead by now. It's quite dangerous. One must be very, very careful. And that is why we often say, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, be situationally aware. I know it's a decision you have to make on the spur of the moment. We even seen viral videos, Tommy, where people sitting in restaurants, the guy comes quietly, takes them by surprise, grabs your cell phone, jumps into an awaiting car. People have been chasing behind these cars. They've been trying to follow these suspects. That could be very, very dangerous. One must be very, very careful.
We are nearing towards the festive season, Yusuf. How do you best protect yourself? How do you actually try and avoid these type of situations so you don't actually have to act, but just avoid it? What are perhaps the top 3 tips that you can give to us this morning?
A very important question, Tommy. We know that crime usually goes up ahead of the festive season and just before Christmas as well. These criminals want to make a quick buck. They also want to go on holiday, just like you do, and people who work for their hard-earned cash, and that is the big worry. We know that police visibility has been spread up. The golden rule is always know your surroundings. Be very alert. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Make sure that you secure your home. If, for example, you're going on holiday, make sure the lights are on. Make sure there's no letters or mail in the post box. If, for example, you're in a restaurant, try not to use your cell phone or your laptop in full view of the public, especially in areas where these criminals can come, grab them and make an easy getaway. Even hijackings have gone up. Last night in Pretoria and Centurion, a mother and a daughter were hijacked. They were taken hostage. The bank accounts were empty. They were released north of Pretoria just after midnight. And again, when you're on the roads, just make sure that if someone is following you, try to drive to a lit up area, try to drive to a police station. If you come home, you see somebody suspicious at your gate, continue driving until you can get some help. We know, for example, spikes on the road has been a problem. The Minister of Transport herself and a protectors fell victim to spikes on the road on the entry near Heidelberg just the other day. If, for example, you find spikes or rocks on the road, continue driving, even if it means damaging your tire and your rim. just be very, very alert, know your surroundings. And again, like we often say, if you see something, say something, report it immediately to the police.
Yusuf Abramjee, thank you so much. Always some really important and sage advice from you. That's Yusuf Abramjee there. Be alert. Don't take things for granted. Better safe than sorry.